In this video, we are covering the VG800. I got it here brand new in the box. I have a lot of questions about this. How well does it work with the GK5 pickup? How well does it work with the GK3 pickup? And how well does it work with the other guitar synths? Now, this is made to go together or to go along with the GM800. So how well do they work together? Also, what are the differences between this and the SY1000 I have over there? Now, on my guitar synth pedal board, I'm going to have to disassemble that to take some of the things off of that board to test this thing out. And so I have a lot of questions to address, so we're probably not going to cover everything in this video, but in this video we're going to do firmware update. We're going to test our guitars, the GK5 and the GK3 and the GK2A with this to see how well it works. So let's get started. Okay, so next we need to cover the GK5 pickup. This is not included with the VG800. You have to buy this separately for an additional $250. There are some advantages to having this, and we'll talk about that in a second. But I want to focus on the mounting here. It's fairly simple to mount. You have a double-sided tape that you could use. You could stick it on anywhere you want to, and this will slide in underneath the strings, and you have double-sided tape here, or you can drill holes. Personally, I like the tape because I don't like drilling holes in my guitar. Now, in this particular install, there is a mounting plate that hooks up right in back of the tail piece here. So you just take the tail piece off and this comes in, and this will pop on and it'll pop off. It provides more stability, I think, for the GK5 pickup, so I prefer to use this as opposed to the tape. Now, I have put tape in the corner over here to prevent this cable from moving around because it was getting in my way, so a little bit of tape down here. Now, if I want to remove this, I can take all of this stuff off with really no damage to the guitar, just polish it up and it's good to go. Now, the other thing you want to be aware of is that when you mount this, you're going to need 1 millimeter of height between the string and the pickup. So I have a video where we've mounted this when we started our guitar synth series. One of the first things we did is we mounted this pickup. I'll leave a link in the video description, so if you have any questions on how to mount the GK5, you just go watch that video and we'll go ahead and walk through it. Okay, our next step is to check the firmware version that is installed on the VG800. Many times these things ship from the factory with older versions of firmware, and sometimes you can get a newer version of the firmware online. So what we need to do is check the firmware and compare it to what's available on the website, and if it's the firmware version it needs to be updated, we need to download it and install it. So this doesn't have a power button, if you remember. So what we have is a power supply is plugged into this Firmware power strip, and I'm using the Firmware power strip as the power button. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn it on, and it's going to boot right up. And there it goes, VG800, guitar mode, and a message that says the VG800 will automatically turn off if not played or used in any way after 20 minutes. Well, I really don't want that, so I can turn the message off, looks like right here, or I can exit this and continue to boot up, it looks like, or I can go into setup and turn the whole thing off, and I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to push down on that, and it brings us to this page. So we have 20 minutes, and in grayed out we have 1 hour, 5 hours, 10 hours, and off. And it looks like each box is assigned to one of these knobs, and we want it off, so I'm going to push on this. And it says disabling auto off increases power consumption. We'll say okay, and now we're on off. So now we don't have to worry about this unit powering itself off after 20 minutes. So let's exit, and there we go, we're booted up. Okay, so let's turn this off, and I want to turn it on again because I want to see if this message comes up again. It should go straight to the first preset, and there it is, ultimate split. Okay, so we're good to go. Now we need to check the firmware version, so we're going to turn this off, and we're going to hold down the exit button, and then we're going to turn on the power strip, and it's booting up. VG800, firmware version 1.01 build 0102. So now what we need to do is check the website. If the firmware version is 1.01, we're fine. But if it's 1.02 or newer, we need to download that firmware and install it on our VG800. Okay, so now it's time to go look for new firmware. So here we go. We're going to go over to our browser, which is Firefox. And then we're going to enter boss space US, enter. Our site comes right up. It's the top site. Click on, and here is our VG800. Very good. Go to Explore, and the VG800 opens up. Good. So let's go down to Downloads. Now that we've clicked on downloads, here are the things we can download. So we'll start with the firmware. Version 1.02. Remember at the beginning of this video, the firmware was 1.01. So we're going to upgrade. Click on the link to download, agree to the terms, and click download file. And we're going to download into our download folder. I'm going to hit the back button. And now we have drivers. We have a version for Windows and a version for Mac, so whichever computer you're using, download the appropriate drivers. So I'm using Windows, so I'm going to download drivers for Windows. Then we'll go ahead and go back. And now it says Tone Studio. We have a version for Mac, and we have a version for Windows. Download what you need. Go ahead and agree. Download. Okay, save. All right, so far so good. So we're going to go back again, and now we have support. So if we click on support, you're going to find all the owner's manuals right here, okay, in PDF. So what we're going to do is the quick start guide. I'm going to click on that. That opens up, agree, and download file takes you to this. Go over here where our download button is for our PDF and download the PDF. And we're going to go back. There's another way to do this, which is better than that. We're going to go back and go back again. And this time I'll show you a faster way. We're going to go to right click on the VG800 reference manual, open link in new tab, agree, download file, go over here to our little download button and click save. Now these came with the VG800 when we bought it, but I like to have the electronic versions too. So that's what we're doing right now. We're getting all the electronic versions. Download file. And you can see in our download folder, here's everything we just downloaded. Okay, so now that we have the software downloaded, our next step is to physically hook up the VG800 to the computer. As you can see, we have a USB-C right there. I have USB-C on one end, and I have USB 2.0 on the other end. It's a fairly long cable. This is the kind of cable you're going to need to update the firmware. So I'm going to go ahead and stick this in like so. And then I'm going to go ahead and plug this into the computer. All right, so now that that's plugged into the computer, I'm going to go ahead and turn the unit on. But before I turn the unit on, I'm going to take my finger and hold down the menu button. Now I'm going to turn it on using the Firmware power strip. And it's going to go through a boot up process. It says VG800 updater, copy file, and disconnect USB cable. Okay, so let's go to the computer. And we're going to open up our browser. Here in our download section, we can see this is our system folder. We don't have anything in there, so I'm going to re-extract that. Let's go ahead and delete that. Go up to our version 1.2, and we're going to extract files. Okay. And now that that's extracted, let's make sure that it sees, there's our VG800. So we're going to go over here to downloads again, and we're going to go to the VG system. I'm going to copy the firmware, copy, Then we're going to go to this PC, go into here, right click, and go to paste. And now our firmware has copied up into the, is on the VG800. So the next thing we need to do is disconnect the USB. So we're going to go over here and close this. We're going to go down here and click on that. We're going to go to eject VG800. And then we're going to go ahead and unplug it from the computer and check our update. So we're on step 1. Step 2 is next. Step 3 is next. Step 4, final step. Update succeeded. At this point, we can turn off our Firmware power strip, and then we can turn it back on again, and it should boot up normal. VG800, guitar mode, and there's our first preset, or patch, or scene. I don't even know what they call it at this stage. Okay, so now we need to go back to the computer, and we're going to go ahead and open up our browser again, or actually our Windows Explorer, not our browser. And we're going down to where downloads is, and we're going to go see where our drivers are that we've extracted. And we're going to go ahead and install the drivers. Next, and there they are. Close. And next we're going to go to our Tone Studio, and we're going to install Tone Studio. Yes. Next. Install. We don't want to launch it just yet. Finish. We're okay. Okay. So now we're going to go to our Start button, and we're going to go see Boss Tone Studio. I'm going to drag it out there, and then we're going to go over here, VG800. This is our driver. Gives us our driver information. Oh, the device is not connected. It helps if I connect it to the computer, doesn't it? So let's go ahead and connect the VG800 to the computer, which is what we're going to do right now. And to make sure it's connected, we're going to right click and go up to device management. Oh, no, that's just partition. Go down here. Device manager is what we want. There we go. And there it is, VG800. Okay. So, yeah, this gives us our driver information. Okay, very good. And this will open up Tone Studio. And there it is. Okay, so we're going to select the VG800. And okay. And we'll open up here in a minute. And here we are inside of Tone Studio. Okay, so since we're rebuilding our pedal board to include the VG800, I'm going to take all this stuff off the pedal board and I'm going to unplug everything. And while I'm at it, I'm going to check for the firmware versions for the SY1000 and the GM800. I'm going to update those as well if they need to be updated. So we're going to go ahead and do that right now. All right, so I want to do a little comparison between the GM800 and the VG800. And you'll notice this has a little wobble to it, and that's because the mounting plate is still on there, so I can put it back on the pedal board once I'm done. I haven't put a mounting plate on this one yet. Okay, so one of the things that you're going to notice is that the VG800 is slightly smaller than the GM800. And it has one control function, whereas this has two control functions. And they're meant to be used together. They're meant to be hooked up together. This is why they're similar. In fact, the control panel for the GM800 is similar to the control panel for the VG800. So if you learn one, you could probably pick up the other one pretty easy. So when you're going to hook these two together, you're going to have to hook them up in series, and you're going to need a TRS cable. And Boss makes these TRS cables that are special for this. Here's a 3-foot TRS cable. You can buy them in 3 feet. That's what it looks like, okay. And then I have a 15-foot and a 30-foot Boss TRS cable. Now I've used normal TRS cables on the GM800 and it seemed to work fine, but I have the Boss cables and so I just use those. Now if I'm going to plug this up in series, and let's say I want to use the GM800 first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my long cable from my GK pickup and plug into the input. And then I'm going to go into the out of the GM800 into the input of the VG800. And so this is what it's going to look like when it's hooked up. So the signal comes into this first and then goes to here. Okay. Now if you want to reverse this, you can reverse this. It's just a matter of doing it this way. This will go into the in. This will go into the out. This will go like this. So now the GK pickup is coming into the VG800 first, then leaving the VG800 and going to the GM800. Now, I don't know if there's a proper way to do this. I don't know which way you hook it up first. I'm going to test out both ways and see which way works the best. So Boss seems to be rolling out a new ecosystem very slowly for its new guitar synth line, and it's very different than the old Roland line. For one thing, they're moving away from the 13-pin cable and they're going with these TRS cables, which is a little bit different. And also, some of the hardware you're going to wind up buying separately. So if you want control functions, you're going to have to buy one for the VG800 and the GM800. And if you want expression pedals, you're going to buy one for the VG800 and the GM800. And whereas before, all the hardware was built in this one unit. So the cost is going to go up. By the time you add all of this up, you know, you have $750 and you have, 650. So there's $1,400. Then you have the control pedals and the expression pedals. So there's about $1,900 when you count the cables. You can easily spend about $1,950 for this entire setup. Now, each one of these is meant to mirror an aspect of the GR55. For example, this is the synth part. So all the synth part that you would find in the GR55, the upgrade is here. And it's a much better synth than GR55. It has more tones, has better sounds, it layers things a lot better. So it's a vast improvement. Now this has the AIRD amps, as opposed to this has the Cosm amps. So the amp models are already better in there. The effects are upgraded in here as well. I don't know about the guitar models. I haven't tested those yet, but we're going to test the guitar models to see if they're better than the guitar models that are found in the GR55. Okay, so now at this stage of the game, we have the whole thing set up. I have downloaded the Tone Studio software that goes along with the VG800. I've got all the drivers set up. I got the pickups all set up. Now, I have a GK5 pickup I'm using. If you want to use one of the older pickups, like the GK3, the GK2A, or the Godin Piezo pickup, you can, but you're going to need this box, and it will convert your 13-pin connector to the cable that you need to plug in. So you have this TRS cable basically. And this box is about $199. The GK5 pickup is about $250. I will say this though, I don't really see a lot of difference with the pickups. They all work great. There's really no latency with this. With the GM800, if you've seen some of the earlier videos I made, you know we've had problems with that pickup when it comes to GK5. But they've released some firmware updates for the GM800. So now they've basically ironed out a lot of the issues that I was having with the GK5, more or less fixed it. Well, the VG800 doesn't have any of those issues at all. It doesn't really matter which pickup system you use with it. any one is going to work real well. So what we're going to do now, we'll play a couple of tones so you can see what this thing will do. It can do 2 guitars at once, and it has some synth capabilities. So we'll do a couple of different patches. Now, it only comes with 60 patches. And then there's more that you can get through the online there with the Tone Exchange. You can log into Tone Exchange through Roland and download more patches, or you can make your own. They're not that hard to make. This is fairly simple thing to program here. So we're just going to go with some factory ones. This first one is Ultimate Split. Let's see if we can. There it is. Okay. So the way Ultimate Split is, they sort of brag on the fact that, you know, they got 2 different guitars in here. So you got one up there that's sort of clean, then you got distortion down there. So you can basically do things like this. So you can do 2 guitars, and there's lots of guitars to choose from, or you can do a synth. You can blend synth sounds with it too. So let's try another patch. Let's go to the 12 string. This is a wide 12 string. It's a stereo 12 string, and it really sounds pretty good, actually. So here's our 12 string. Coming from somebody who owns a 12 string, that's pretty good. Nice little 12 string sound. Let's see what else we got. Here is a sitar, and the other cool thing is that you can tune these any way you want. So when you make your patch, you can choose your tuning. This is Dad-Gad, and this is a sitar tuning for Dad-Gad. So see what else we got. We have fretless guitar. I like fretless guitar sounds. Boss does a pretty good fretless guitar. Great for funk. Nice little fretless guitar there. Here we'll do this is a metal one. This, believe it or not, this is a metal sound, but this is a metal tone using an acoustic guitar. So that's what this sounds like. Not bad for an acoustic guitar with a metal sound. That's kind of cool. Oh, here is just kind of a little distorted tone. I don't know what guitar they're using on this, but this is an open G, this one. So we can do things like... Let's see what else we got. We have, okay, the GR300 that's on everything. This is a patch that you're going to find on everything that Boss puts out, basically. Kind of a cool little patch, actually. Here's a nice acoustic guitar. I like this acoustic guitar.
little acoustic guitar there. Let's see what else we got. Mild jazz. Okay, this one is called City Pop. What else we got? Got a little blues here, a little blues tone, some blues amps and some blues guitars. All right, so let's see. We got, let's try this. I really like this one. This one really surprised me. It's more of a synth tone, but it's great for some interesting things that you could do. That one was called Cristo Echo. I thought that was pretty cool. Let's see what else. We have, of course, fretless bass. They have stand-up basses, fretless basses. There's lots of bass guitars in this. Okay. Let's see what we got. Here's a Gibson acoustic guitar blended with a Gibson 335. So. You can tell the acoustic in there has a little tinchy sound to it. All right, so let's see what we got. Let's try this Breeze solo. I'm not really sure on this one. We'll see how well this sounds. Breeze solo is up next. Got a little synth sound to it, I think. Now, every one of these has a control function. I'll switch to control function on this, see what that sounds like. All right, switch the control function off. I like it better without it. Okay, what else do we have? A stereo Telecaster clean, and this is the neck pickup here. Let's see what this sounds like. That's all right. I don't know about that one. Oh, here we go. Nylon string. Let's see how well they've nailed the nylon string. This is one of the things you have to really look at. How well did they do the nylon string? That's not bad, not bad. Okay, let's see what else we have. I got a lot of weird ones here. We're getting into some of the weird synth ones. Let me see. I'll do one more here. I have an organ here. Shiny Phase Clean. Let's try that one. Shiny Phase Clean. So that's pretty cool. That's some pretty cool sounds. Now there's a lot more that this does that we haven't talked about yet, and we're going to do more videos. I got a couple videos coming up where we'll show you how to use it with other gear, how to blend it with the other synths, and what it can really do. What are some of the hidden features that you don't know about this? So we have some videos coming up where we're going to show you how to record with it, do some other things with it, how to use it as a MIDI controller, and a few other surprises. So like and subscribe, stay tuned, and thank you for watching.